Hello, Aluxers. 'Tis the season to be hosting the best parties and gatherings on the block, and as an Aluxer, you'll be expected to pull out all the stops. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. We've created the perfect list of ways to be the perfect host with the most, so let the fun begin. Number 1. Take the party outside. Nothing says classy like outdoor dining. If the weather's great or you're lucky enough to live where there's a predictable climate, then plan your soiree for a still night in the garden or on your balcony. Outdoor events have so many advantages because, generally speaking, you don't have to do much with decor. Whether you live in a concrete jungle or have a green garden, a simple table setup and some string lights above bring the ultimate elegance no matter the backdrop. When the sun goes down and the lights of the city or suburbs come up, it's always so much prettier and dreamier than indoors, and nothing feels more refreshing than a night spent outdoors. Plus, the fresh air is meant to reduce the hangover, so win-win. Number 2. Bring people together. People enjoy themselves more when they get to know someone new and don't feel like a spare trying to enter the conversation. As the host, help people find their common ground by introducing your guests with a starter conversation topic. It also helps take the pressure off you having to juggle a million conversations all night long. Use informative introductions to get conversations flowing. For example, "Hey Doug, have you met Letitia? She recently hiked in South America. Aren't you into hiking too?" Or, "Claire, meet Imran. Claire's just come back from working a year in Germany. Imran, didn't you also live there for a while?" Giving people common ground to start a conversation makes it so much easier and puts everyone at ease. And if you're looking for a light read while you get ready for your next party, why not listen to Brunch is Hell by Brendan Francis Newnam and Rico Gagliano. You can find it free on Audible if you use our link, alux.com/freebook. Number 3. Create ambiance with lighting. No one needs to sit in bright white office lighting all night long, so consider the lighting when you're hosting an event. Lower light, but not too low, makes people feel more relaxed and sets a good vibe. If you only have bright overhead lights, then bring some lamps into the corners of your room and then use candles on the dinner table. If you're hosting a more mingling cocktail evening, then dot candles around the room thoughtfully so people can see where their drinks and snacks are. And it's always great to light your bathrooms with candles when you host a party. It just brings the atmosphere through and it's classy AF. Number 4. Invest in great dinnerware. You're probably not going to buy the good china and silverware you want in one foul swoop. But if you choose a classic range that you know they'll keep making, then there's no rush. Over time, you can slowly invest in a classic dinner set that will serve you your whole life. Plus, the bonus of going classic is if you break a few pieces, you can easily top up that set again without having to start all over. If you aim to impress with keeping these kinds of things standard, then host smaller parties at first. Dinner for 2 or just 4, whatever you can afford. Once you have 4 of everything, you can start to aim to have 6 of everything, and so on. Most towns and cities have rental companies who rent out dinnerware, and it's affordable. And if you aren't hosting people more than once a month, it might just be better to hire as you go. This way you get what you need, you don't have to wait to host big numbers, and you don't have to store the dinnerware if you don't have room in your cupboards. Number 5. Keep it simple. Now for the catering. If you want to be the perfect host, start by checking if your guests have any special dietary needs. From there, you can plan. Rather than make them a whole separate meal, try to find recipes that can work for everyone. Unless you're serving soup or something cold, then doing a 3-course meal can really be hard to juggle. Plan according to how much space and what appliances you have. Don't get ahead of yourself with a 27-step main meal that you saw on MasterChef. Keep it simple and it'll be perfect and delicious. Sometimes finger snacks on arrival serve you better than a starter because you and the guests can mingle. Or set out a lush harvest table of fruit, bread, and cheese, and let your guests build their own plates and graze. This also means you don't have to worry too much about dietary requirements because generally there's something for everyone. If you're serving dinner hot, then warm up your plates to make it way easier to keep the food warm as you dish it. Rope in a friend to help you plate everything, and serving everyone their plate at the same time is always a nice way to create a relaxed social meal. Plus, you can also sit down and enjoy the moment too. If it's an evening of drinking, then don't put too much emphasis on dessert. Coffee and chocolate is usually enough, and even then, you might not have any takers. If you do go with a plated dessert, then don't be offended if the party winds down soon after, as a sweet ending usually sends everyone into a dozy food coma and ready for home, which isn't always a bad thing when you're a tired host. Number 6. Be thoughtful in the mix. Planning a party often starts with realizing you haven't seen so-and-so in ages, and you extend an invite to them to have them come over and meet up. You might then suddenly remember another friend you want to see, and then some lonely guy at work you promised you would invite around. Before you know it, you're hosting a table of motley misfits and a staggered conversation that everyone wants to get away from, but more on that next. Consider the friends you invite. While it might be nice to extend an olive branch to an awkward guy at the office, it might be a stretch for them to meet a whole group of friends to sit down for an evening. A casual drink after work is probably less threatening for them, and in the same way, if you know one of your friends tends to get really wasted and want to party, while others are less inclined and prefer rigorous discussion, then just don't pair them together for an evening of intimate dining. It just won't work the way you want it to. Number 7. Plan your seating. This might seem over the top, but a seating plan puts everyone at ease. Simple name cards at places are perfect to guide everyone to where to sit. Not only does it lead guests to avoid awkward where to sit moments, and then shuffling to fit a couple next to each other and avoid two X's from sitting side by side and all those avoidable hiccups. It also allows you to seat people together with like interests and spark more pleasant and interesting conversations for your guests. If you don't, you might be halfway through the meal when you realize, by way of screaming match, that two people seated next to each other have very vocal and opposite opinions of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and that's when things get kinda awkward. While we don't shy away from tough topics as Aluxers, there is a time and a place for heated debate, and addressing these issues with people you just met can get fiery quickly and you might lose friends. Great parties can just happen, but mostly they are well curated by the host, and that starts with the guest list. Number 8. Don't underestimate the entertainment. If you're going all out and hosting a big party, then some live entertainment can be a huge hit. We don't mean live goldfish and vases. Please don't do that, it's kitschy and they die. If you were thinking of hiring a sound system and just playing some tunes off your phone, you might want to call around and see how much music entertainers actually cost. Most of them come with their own music system, so it isn't a major price difference to hire them instead. And if you do hire them, you still have to consider the playlist you'll put on after their shift ends, and check that they'll wait until after the party clears up to get their gear. After all, music maketh the meal or party, so don't leave it as an afterthought. But more on that later. Number 9. Know thy wine. If you plan on playing the perfect host, you should brush up a little on your sommelier skills. We don't expect you to be able to open a bottle of bubbly with a sword, but that is really cool if you can. But have a little read about what wine you are serving to your guests, or if it's BYOB, then a welcome cocktail or a nice nightcap or something special you can introduce to your guests is a touch of class in a glass. Number 10. Get your table settings straight. Having a great guest list, table plan, and a delicious meal is all good, but to add to perfection, the devil is in the details. And absolute class is having the right cutlery and glassware on the table to serve to your guests. This also means less jumping up and down to get a water glass and a napkin and a side plate, etc. When you plan your meal, plan what dinnerware is needed, then hire, borrow, or buy it beforehand. A common mistake is forgetting you need 2 sets of cutlery for a starter and a main meal. If your guests need to use the same pair for both, make sure they have a side plate to rest them on between courses. If you're serving wine or a specific drink, try to have the right glassware. It's easy enough to Google the right glasses and then rent them locally. Some liquor stores even offer free glass rental if you buy from them, so it's always worth looking into. Number 11. Dress like the host with the most. The perfect host shouldn't look frazzled or have gravy dripping down their shirt. Whatever you plan to do, make sure you give yourself enough time to get the food and venue ready, and then get yourself ready too. That means enough time to glam up for the occasion and have a minute of downtime to calm the nerves so you can shine like the perfect host you are. And if you need some tips on always looking dapper as hell, check out our video, 15 Ways to Put Together a Proper Wardrobe. Number 12. If music be the food of love, then play on. Music is powerful and sets the tone. Don't leave creating playlists to the last minute. Use your daily commute or waiting in line to start crafting the perfect playlist song by song. Decide what the soundtrack of your party sounds like. Is it jazz or classical music, modern pop or house? Do you want to rev up the night and end up dancing, or do you want to wind down to do happy sighs and comfortable silences among close friends? Whatever picture you have in mind, have the music to match to make the evening perfect. Number 13. Paper or fabric? Napkin, serviette, napery, handkerchief, towelette, or doily, no matter what you call them, your party will need them. One thing is for sure, in the case of classy dining and napkins, always go fabric. The heavier the fabric, the classier. Reserve the paper napkins for informal cocktail parties and backyard barbecues. Number 14. Stay seasonal. When you're planning your menu and cocktails that require fruits or vegetables, always stay seasonal. Unless you're a sucker for a scavenger hunt across the city trying to find some obscure ingredient, it's better to stay with what you know is in season. This will also ensure you don't pay obscene amounts for something that is usually as cheap as chips. And when it comes to seasonal, also play to the strengths of the season. Don't serve cold food in winter. Keep it cozy with soups, roasts, and baked pudding recipes. In summer, keep it light and fresh, like salads, gazpacho, and homemade sorbet. Number 15. Be yourself. The best way to be the perfect host is to be yourself. When your guests see you being relaxed and enjoying yourself, they will also be relaxed and comfortable to be themselves. This is what really leads to a great occasion with tons of laughter and plenty of fun. So, Aluxers, equipped with this knowledge, you can go out there and be the perfect host. The host with the most, the hostess ninja you were meant to be. Now that we're at the end of our list, Aluxers, we're curious. What's the worst host fail you've ever experienced? And what's the most standout quality that you appreciate in a host? Let us know in the comments. And since you stuck with us until the very end, you of course get a bonus. If you think of planning a dinner for 10 is a big deal, how about a dinner for 3,000? ONGA, a food seasoning company in Ghana, did exactly that. In 2017, a 1,928-meter-long table was set, and nearly 3,000 people sat down to a feast. The Guinness World Record book recognized the feat and awarded the record for the longest dinner table in the world, because it was one continuous table with no break. Just imagine the pile of dishes to wash up after that. Thanks for watching, Aluxers. As always, don't forget we have plenty more great videos for you. All you have to do is subscribe. And of course, thumbs up are also so appreciated. Till next time.